Stugotz has just fled for the airport, all of us wondering as he waved sausage fingers and sauntered and was very slow about it because he's not leaving himself enough time.
He left here an hour and 10 minutes before his flight takes off.
He was talking about valet and stuff, and I'm like, Stugotz, the last handful of times I have been to the airport, there is no such thing as valet. There are no workers. People don't want to go do shitty jobs, and I've had to go find a place and almost been late. And he's like, I got a guy, Dan.
He then walked away and realized his own bullshit. It's like, I just said I have a guy. I don't have a guy. Like,
did he? You said that out loud?
Yeah, he did. He did. I was like, why did I just say that? And I wonder how many times he says that to himself in his internal monologue, or he's just so full of bluster and bombast that he'll say things that have no relation to anything.
I believed him. When he said,
Really?
I've got a guy, I didn't know what it was, but I'm like, he's got some airport guy who comes in with a helicopter and takes his car and parks it somewhere in an emergency.
He's doing it the right way. There's this
lying.
Well, yes, that. But there's the stereotype of the dad who has to go to the airport 5 hours before the flight takes off, and that is the most infuriating person in the world. I grew up with a dad who had his own time zone, so he was always 45 minutes late for everything. So we always had a mad dash to the airport. Like, we'd have to drive to the faraway parking lot, park the car, sprint to the airport, and like it was a whole disaster. And now I feel like I get it. Like, we didn't waste a lot of time sitting around in the airport all day.
Do you have shame or pride when you announce in a moment, because you really get a snapshot into everybody's soul when Family Feud comes looking with their lights, when you asked for directions and your answer was your dad, which struck me as an unusual answer.
And it's probably outdated, right? You probably don't. You probably go to the internet,
well,
right?
The way it was phrased, like, I didn't even realize I could say the internet because it's asking who. So I'm thinking a person, not what, which I would be thinking a phone or a website. Also, I would like to say, I think my fatal flaw with the Family Feud game was that I just honestly answered every question because those were the first things I thought of. And I didn't answer very strategically. Like, 48 minutes was just honestly how long our episodes are. So that's how long we work every hour. And then, asking my dad, like, I don't ask my dad really for directions. I haven't done that since I was probably 15. But it just felt like,
it fit.
It fit. Like, I don't ask.
Let's
use my phone.
Let's play the game of what's the question you go to your dad for? Because I have something there is something like I do go to my dad for. It's like house things. Like my
he's a handyman.
My smoke detector's doing that thing where it just beeps inexplicably.
My
you guys ever have that thing?
My father is
taxes.
Taxes. My father's very good with numbers. But the reason I bring all of this up is Stugotz waddling, scurrying out of here when we're like, Stugotz, you're cutting this way too close. Traffic off the beach is nuts. There is on the floor something that was left behind in his mad scurry to the airport. Top 3 answers are on the board. 1 fraud surveyed. There's something on the floor here by his seat. I'm asking you guys, Stugotz just ran out of here. What that thing is, top 3 answers are on the board.
So something has gone flying out of his pocket. It's on the floor now, and he's left it behind.
He has left it behind, and I have 3 answers in my head, and I have here what has actually been left behind, which I believe would be one of your 3 answers. But I want to go around the room here and just ask you guys, what do you think is on the floor at my feet as he scampered out of here?
A top 5 list?
Pack of heaters.
Large dollar bill.
Nickel bag.
Wow.
A lighter.
Oh, so close. Oh, so close.
Oh, he's going to be kicking himself when he gets in his car.
Oh, man.
TSA would have taken that.
No more cigarette lighters in cars now.
He's got a guy.
So you think he's driving to the airport? He probably would have gone for a stroll through the garage. That's one of my favorite things when I get to work is if I see Stugotz stood outside of his car, waddling on the 4th floor of the garage.
Can we call him? Let's get a play-by-play on where he is right now, because his flight's in a few minutes, and we have his lighter.
It's currently boarding, yeah.
He wanted to.
He'll come back for the lighter.
Light up. He might waddle back in here or send a guy. We are going to call Stugotz and see where he is.
Woody's so right, though. So often, Stugotz is waddling down, walking from like the 4th floor in the parking garage, just smoking a heater. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what? I get made so sad watching him walk down, and I'm just like, this is you. You love this. This is part of you. This is like him decompressing before the show. Let me saunter down the parking garage.
Let's keep it quiet though on the details here, because I want him to guess what he thinks he left on the floor here.
I think like the audience might think that that's Stugotz getting into his method acting character. Like he gets out of his car, he becomes Stugotz, he smokes the cigarette.
He is Stugotz.
But that just is that is him. He's not method
Jessica,
acting.
I don't understand. Honest to God, you said it with a smile on your face, and he's charmed everyone here. But you saying that he agreed for several weeks to meet up with you at a Grateful Dead concert in New York, and you genuinely wanting to see him, and him pretending the whole time like he was going to see you, and then saying at the end, can't make it. Like you weren't even hurt by that. He just sets the standard so very
Nothing could
low
hurt
with
me
so
that
many
night, Dan.
lies that
I was feeling really good. There was no way Stugotz could hurt my feelings.
Getting
That
back-
was a great night. And you know what? I hear all of you slander the dead. Until you go to one of those concerts and you really feel that music in your bones, it's just a good time. And yes, the people dance like absolute
weird.
Yeah.
weirdos.
Such bad
I
dancing.
sent a video of this guy in my section dancing to Woody during the concert, and I was just like, yeah, this is exactly what you've been talking about. There was also this woman next to me who, like, just the way she was moving was as if she was doing the worm while vertical.
it's the drugs.
It has no relation to music. Like, and
Yes,
you'll
it does,
notice.
'cause you just-
no,
you-
it doesn't.
you-
It has
Witty,
no. It's not music.
please.
It's its own
They
different
play
category.
good drug music.
You feel the
it's
music,
Chicago
and it just,
style music.
It forces what?
Like not
Chicago.
Chicago style, but like you know, like
It is a
Like
little
a hot dog?
cozy.
like Chicago style pizza has nothing to do with pizza. That's what it is. It's like Chicago style
That's
music.
the worst
It
analogy
has
I've
nothing to do with anything.
ever heard. It
I
makes
never heard of that.
absolutely no sense, and I resent you for it. The music you feel, and then it forces you to do things with your limbs that you're like, wow, I've never done this with my arms before. What am I doing here?
I would pay a lot of money for anybody who gets us video of Stugotz in the wild feeling himself dancing.
Getting back to Stugotz's lighter, what makes you think that he doesn't have 3 already in the glove compartment? 3 spares.
Yeah.
Is he listening right now? Is
No,
he
no, I
there?
called him. I got his voicemail, which, by the way, is also in Stugotz's voice. Whenever I call him and he doesn't answer, and I get the, "Hi, buddy, it's John. I can't get to the
Well,
phone
can you
right
ju-
now.
can-
Leave me a
let's-
voicemail." Like, I describe his method of speaking as a dull roar. He's roaring all the time, but it seems normal because he's just talking. But he talks so loud.
My dad sounds hammered in his voicemail machine. We should play
Let's
these
call
all on
both
air.
of them.
Everyone's
Let's-
voicemail messages sound awful. Just do the default one.
That
are
is
we
what
doing
that is what
the
I do.
power move is never as you get a new iPhone, you don't even activate your voicemail inbox, and they just go, "This person doesn't have a voicemail. Goodbye."
I have
I
not.
have 10 unlistened to voicemails just from spam callers. I've gotten like 25 spam calls a day for the last month. It's ridiculous.
And
The only people who leave
politicians.
me
Good
voicemails.
time. All the
Bill de
politicians.
Blasio texted
yeah,
me
they
last
have your
week.
number and
The
they're texting
audacity.
you as well. Yes, I love these people infecting our phones. They're viruses infecting our phones, selling us stuff, trying to get access to us through our addicted devices. The voicemail I would like to check first. Just call Chris.
Let's do my dad's first. It's already
Witty,
ringing.
But I'd like to hear it on air.
It is. Watch. Shh.
He's going to answer.
Sounds
though.
hammered. call him
No,
from
no,
the
no.
board.
Just shh. You're good.
Yeah, we could have called him from the board.
Quiet.
You know, you can make it sound better, instead of speakerphone.
Audio.
We need to be working in audio medium.
Wait,
Everything
it's
else.
going to be a
can
good
hear it.
comparison when we play Stugotz's and you hear how loud it is.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Not here or can't come to the phone. Leave a message.
The hey, like you it was kind of stepped on.
Hey, everybody.
Everybody.
It would have been better if we played it through the board,
bad.
though. I
5
mean,
seconds of just this before he starts talking.
It was slurred.
Everybody.
He was hitting,
Not here.
He hit the phone. He hit the phone the way a bear might if a bear was trying to use it but didn't know technology.
Everybody.
Yes, and then he slurred through it. But now let's call Stugotz's. They sounded a bit like Harry Carey, just slurring through the bourbon.
hi, everybody.
It's an excellent limited fake Harry Carey. Loud. Now let's hear how loud Stugotz is, or he may answer.
Or you may answer. Yeah.
Just destroying the show from over there.
Coming up.
But he's hard to reach. He generally makes the terms on whether or not you reach him.
There's no way he knows this number.
This is going to be so loud. It's going to be a punch in the face.
Hi, you've reached John. I can't get to the phone right now. Leave a voicemail and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
How do you lie on a voicemail?
Hey, everybody.
Let's call Cody's again, and if he answers, we will just ask him why. I want to know how he made this voicemail. Was it in the garage, Chris, after 9 beers? Because he does sound like he's not in any way sober.
The people who do the voicemail messages where they make it sound like they're answering and then they pause and then they finish the voicemail message, those people are pure chaos and evil, right?
Chaos and evil seems strong.
Jer Bear agrees.
Back in the day, there was only 4 rings before the voicemail. Way too many rings these days.
Well, they got to give people time because a lot fewer people use their ringer now. Nobody uses their ringer anymore.
Is that true?
Yeah.
All right, dummy up. Here we go.
Put it on the poll.
Dummy up.
Do you use your ringer anymore?
Hey, everybody. Not here or can't come to the phone. Leave a message. Thanks.
See, doesn't that sound better, Chris?
Everybody.
No, it does not. It does not sound better. It sounds, he is absolutely slurring his, hey, everybody. By the way, not surprising at all that he would answer the phone and think just everybody is there.
It's only one person calling you.
It's everybody. No, he's performing, baby. Anytime you put a mic on around him, hey, everybody.
He was 19 Miller Lights deep when he recorded that.
It's everyone calling him.
Hey,
at the
everybody.
same. He's doing a little show. A little show. Everything is good content. The
Right.
Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote.
It's like he's introducing a late night talk show from the 1970s, like on a UHF over the air channel that's seen in like
Holy
23
cow.
markets.
Can you guys get me some Harry Carey sound? Just YouTube drunk Harry Carey sound, because the broadcaster, this is a lost art. God, do I miss, as we give all these broadcasters this money, the guy who would just show up hammered or drink during the game. That guy just having a good stiff drink. I mean, Harry Carey.
What happened to baseball, honestly? It's so sterilized now, Dan.
Budweiser.
I wish I could do the impersonation of Boog Shambi urinating next to Harry Carey, who'd had too much to drink, rummaging around in all of his clothing in Chicago, cursing summer and not being able to find his dick.
My Harry Carey is just Will Ferrell. I literally have no recollection of actually Harry Carey. It's all just, what, everybody?
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win! Holy cow!
But the lips and the head is important. Like
You got to make your neck longer and be like, oh.
But wait a minute, you seem like a surprise.
That is Elvis.
Let me see.
Look at him now.
It is. It's Elvis on drugs, a bit sedated, but also Harry Carey. You're moving sideways, and you seem surprised. Your face, you do it.
It's only, you just breathing. That's all you need.
It's also Harry Carey.
What do you think about that?
Last night, and we will try to find some sound on Harry Carey on YouTube that he clearly has sounded slurring drunk. But I don't know what your favorite part was last night, and I hope baseball ends up figuring out the things that are required to modernize, because I really do love watching the skill level of these people. It's crazy. But I had not heard before, as this sport sort of squeezes, it's trying to get younger. Tatis and Bryce Harper are telling you it doesn't have to be this stiff starch thing anymore. And I'm watching Alex Manoah pitch, and I'm like, I'll watch you pitch every time if you're going to mic him up. If you're going to mic him up while he's pitching and just put a microphone in his in his pants, and that seems like to get in the way, and he's going to say, here's one right down the middle.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's all three of you. That's a good bullpen session for me. I just got in the All-Star game, I just did a little bullpen. I struck everybody out just throwing hard. If you're going to mic that up, I want to watch that for as long as you're going to play it for me.
I'm with you, and that was cool once we got to that part of it. The very first part was like John Smoltz, like, you like sandwiches, huh? His first question to him was like, you like pitching, huh? He's like, love it. And I was like, this could get weird. But then they got into it, and he was like talking to his catcher. It was really cool to see the dynamic. He's like predicting what his catcher's gonna call. I'm with you. I was ready to criticize it, but it is. I don't want them being interviewed. That's too invasive. But I'm with you. Just mic them up so we can listen to like their thoughts.
But you can't though. It's dangerous. Like these guys, man. The mic'd up for sound is such a contrivance. It's just bought for access, and they edit it all up. You're not getting real sound. You're just getting the illusion of access. Like some guys will show you some personality, but it's mostly let's go. That's what I'm talking about. It's some stupid thing that they can air because they're not telling you when he's motherfucking the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and during the game, you can actually you can forget that you're on mic. And I would presume that's when it's best. And when you take it live...
That never airs.
Right, exactly. It's never... If you take it live, it's not being censored by somebody. It's not somebody with a sensibility of, can we get this person in trouble? Because in theory, whenever that stuff happens and it gets a little too real, there's always blowback. Think about Sam Darnold saying that he's seeing ghosts in a game against the Patriots. It was the one rare moment where, holy shit, we're actually getting a real view into this. And then I'm sure the people, the Jets, freaked out. They don't want, and I bet you if you ask the Jets, next year, in the next 5, maybe in 10 years, they'll forget. They don't want their players mic'd up anymore because of what happened there.
You know, one of the times people have wondered about our relationship with Aaron Rodgers and everything else, but one of the times I remember thinking to myself, I really like this guy. It was the first time I'd heard the expression because it's something that's usually talked about in shadows. He admitted after a Dolphin game that at the goal line he saw ghosts. Now, it's an indictment of Sam Darnold, but Aaron Rodgers is so good that he can say it and it doesn't mean anything. But I found the admission surprising because these guys aren't actually honest with us. And you see what happens to Aaron Rodgers when he does try to be honest with us, because he did think to himself at the end of his career, I have all this power. Can't I just do and say what I want and what I really think about things, no matter how controversial it is? It's not, I'm surprised because it's a bit of a cliche, right? Quarterbacks do say this, the seeing of ghosts in the training. I just never heard one admit it. It's held as an indictment. Like Sam Darnold, it's about the only thing I know of his career is people waving around, oh, the reason you couldn't do this is you weren't confident. You saw 15 jerseys out there instead of 11 on defense.
And it's arguable that he's never been the same since. I mean, look, maybe he was always destined to be just an okay quarterback that was going to be a backup for a few years. But I do think that was a significant turning point in, this guy's just never going to turn around and become the prospect that he was supposed to be, because you can't come back from that sort of moment, being that kind of vulnerable in front of a national audience and saying that Bill Belichick has completely gotten the better of me.
If I gave you real and genuine access that somehow, I hope the streaming services do this, because you can protect these people. You really can. And you can show us the real stuff. It doesn't all have to be Hard Knocks. Like, really, the sanitized NFL video version of our most conservative league is the one who's going to do fake access the best. Sandy Alcantara, the way that people are talking about his excellence, where Mike Trout is saying, yeah, that's some of the best stuff I've ever seen. And everybody is talking about this guy like that. Yeah, that's the best pitcher in the sport right now. I don't know how anybody hits it, and they're all talking. It's like Showalter is talking about, like, yeah, he's not tricking anybody. We know what he's going to do, and we can't do anything about it anyway. I would love to get to know that guy as he's pitching, even if it's in his second language, so that I don't have to. I was asking Jeremy the other day if we can get Sandy on in Spanish with us to see if there's more personality there. Not because he's learned English and he's gotten better at English, but these guys all struggle in their second language. They don't want to sound dumb, so they just do cliches or say the right things that they've been taught in that environment, but you don't get the real them. Like I remember the first time I ever noticed this. Vladimir Guerrero was unknown to the American public, his father. And he was a huge superstar. Everybody could see that he was a monster talent, but he was fifth grade educated. He drank from puddles. He He didn't want to appear stupid, so he stayed to himself, and his manager wouldn't even talk to him. Frank Robinson, a Hall of Famer, wouldn't even talk to him because he didn't want anything lost in the translation. Just let him play and be alone. I would have loved to have gotten to know that guy, but he was uneducated, right? He didn't have a lot to say and was scared of sounding dumb. Then when you talk to Latin players about him, I remember just so specifically, I walk into a clubhouse, I do not know Jose Mesa. He's a big, brooding reliever for the Phillies, and as I'm walking in, he's chasing reporters out of his locker, yelling at them, has not met me, and I tell him I want to talk about Vladimir Guerrero. Puts his arm around me, takes me to his locker, and starts saying the devil himself wouldn't want to pitch to that guy. The pitch hasn't been invented that you can throw to that guy without fear. And he's just like unspooling a tapestry, dying to talk about that guy in his language. I'd like to know Sandy that way. I'd like to know what he really is about. Is he just a robot who throws 97 that no one can hit? Or he's the best pitcher ever, and how did this come to be?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the answer is, like, we talk sometimes about, oh, what could baseball do to make Mike Trout a bigger deal? And sometimes Mike Trout's just boring. Like, it's okay.
No, always.
Not everyone has to be wildly entertaining. Sometimes he's just boring.
But he doesn't.
It wasn't boring on Stupidity. Whew, that was good. Check it out.
He was less boring on Stupidity because Billy and Stugotz were dancing around him and trying to get something out of him. But he makes those interviews difficult. Wouldn't you like to know your baseball players? Like really know them? Because you guys tell me though whether Alex Manoah, whether the All-Star game still matters enough that is something. Or we're watching on that night together somewhat, kind of, maybe, to celebrate the sport with Jackie Robinson, do a big made-for-TV event. Apple now wants in this game. They're getting into baseball. Like the next evolution of how this stuff is going to be presented to us is coming. Will baseball, a sport that once upon a time wouldn't put the Spider-Man logo on a base, too sacrilegious, to advertise a Spider-Man movie, now has Bitcoin on its umpires. Manfred's out here saying, because he can cash on all this stuff. He is meant to be a cash machine and continue to take the stupid PR hits of saying that minor leaguers are playing in what he considers a livable wage, which is just absurd. It's an asinine thing to say as you're making $10 million a season. And the salaries in minor league baseball are between $4,000 and $14,000, and they just gave those guys housing. They've got it ain't slave labor, but 2022, it's wages that other jobs are being quit at airports to make Stugotz in a dangerous place as he gets there because it's a shitty paying job. And he's out here saying that's a livable wage because that's their pipeline, and he gets to be able to continue to traffic, and these things are cheaper in the Dominican, so you could keep doing this, paying very little for your minor leagues, caring very little for your minor leagues. If this sport is going to evolve into the future historically, does not like to change more than the other sports. Precious about change. Stupid about change. Tradition's gone. Numbers don't matter anymore. You can still do the big event. Isn't the next step on this, if you want your athletes to actually be stars, let us get to know them a little bit instead of the construct of play this game the right way and give off whatever makes the Jeter documentary. Give us their real personalities when they're up against somebody. They want to strike that dude out, and they're like, here's a fastball. What are you going to do about it? And we're getting an honest glimpse instead of what you're trying to sell to your kids.
I think this has been the genius of Formula One. They have 20 drivers, and I have thoughts about like 19 of them. There's one or two that just like are boring personalities. I don't know who they are or what they're about, but I know what most of those drivers are about. I've got a genuine look into them. And so when I see on a Saturday, oh, Lando Norris is in 9th, I have some connection to that. Whereas I do think that big sports here in this country in some ways get into a bubble where they think that inside of their organization, it's the most important thing. We have to protect ourselves as if we're like the president of the United States. We can't let any secrets about our strategy go out. We can't let any bits of our personality that might piss off the other team out. Like, we have to constantly be protecting ourselves because we're protecting this very big thing. Because to a baseball team, they think that they are at the highest level in the biggest thing. And so I can understand why that mentality exists, but it has to change. I think if, for example, I work in Major League Soccer and I want that league to grow, there has to be more access given. There have to be more controversies. There have to be more times where people go after each other. There have to be ways in which people connect to the personalities on each team. I don't think there's enough of that at the moment. And so I think as long as teams believe that they have to protect themselves from something, the media, criticism, whatever, social media, then you're never going to change that. But
it makes it all less fun. Like if you're
course.
going to be that self-serious about things, it makes it all, we're going to show you less and less and only what you want to see, and we're going to protect every material. But then John Boy Media is learning that the Cleveland's got a pitcher that's tipping his pitches, and nobody on the field actually knew it except John Boy Media, because we're all watching now. We can all see more than we've ever seen. You might as well give us the real stuff instead of the fakery.
It's on the players too a little though, right? I mean, I feel like I know Jazz Chisholm. He puts himself out there.
Yeah, but look
He's
at what he has
interesting.
to fight to do it. That's the point. Like all these guys to show you personality. This is where the change happens, right? It's been governed by Brian McCann, and man, we're celebrating Jackie Robinson. If you think Brian McCann is too serious about his sport, what do you think the people that Jackie Robinson and Branch Rickey were going up against in self-seriousness in 1960s America?
We tried to get Brian McCann on in Tahoe. What you think of him, because you're so right. When I think of Brian McCann, I think of no fun in baseball. I couldn't have had a more delightful interaction with him in Tahoe. He was just like, "Hey man, what's up? Nice to meet you." I was just like, "Whoa!"
I
was
the
trying
same
to get in
thing.
on him.
Brian McCann doesn't want you to know his personality.
I was trying to backdoor him. Don't look at me. It was because I was trying to I was just like, hey man, we're big. Oh, you should come on the level. Like I was like, even though we were.
You were trying to trick him?
I was like, once we got him on the show, I was gonna be like, what's up with you being? I was gonna act like I was gonna sarcastically be on his side. Like, thank you for. We need to get these pimping home runs out of here. Like I was just gonna act like I was, but he never joined us.
But it's funny that you should say that, because I have also
What a terrible strategy. Just
to
from
trick him.
start to finish.
Lie to him.
Well, no, it was like, hey man, it'd be fun. Come on, and yeah.
Chris was not a good guest booker in Tahoe.
Did you see Joe Buck? Did you see David Wells? Who do you think got those guys?
Chris Cote went to Tahoe to golf and drink at the 17th hole and occasionally run into Joe Buck and ask him if he'd want to do something. But Brian McCann is a very nice guy. I've met him. He's very cordial and very professional. And what did the sport do to him? Made him that. The sport is so starched and self-serious that he became the captain face of that. You cannot have fun on my watch. Baseball's important and serious. That's the construct Jazz Chisholm is against. I can't believe that the star in Miami, Chris Cote, that when you combine his name is Chisholm.
Sounds like something I would have said.
I'm saying I can't
why I
believe
said your
that
name,
you
Chris.
haven't seized on that and tried to turn it into something.
I try to, there's a line. I don't like to go below it.
He's trying to bring personality to his sport. And they're fighting him on it. And they've been fighting the black guys on it and the Latin guys on it forever.
Yeah, I mean, there is that culture part of it. I do think when you watch the home run derby and you see a lot of the Latin guys interact and like some of the biggest stars of the game, it's really cool. And you talk about speaking in their native language, but is there anything that baseball can do to overcome just the fact that it's boring?
Make the game shorter.
But I mean,
I was rooting for a tie last night in a home run derby to finish it. I can't believe we didn't celebrate that with Stugotz. He was right. His decision. Didn't Manfred laugh at him when he suggested that?
I think he laughed at the magic at bat or the ball pit in right field. But ending a game,
I think it was
home
a
run
pond.
Oh,
in
a
right
pond,
field.
yeah. But you're right.
I
Stugotz.
like ball pit though. Let's go with ball pit.
I mean, we should retroactively.
Stugotz was right. Holy Stugotz was right.
He was 100% right. Ending games with a home run derby after 9 innings. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this come to the major league level in competitive games.
Do we have any of the sound of either him interviewing Manfred or Jim Leland barking at us with some of the suggestions that Stugotz and Billy have made about ball pits and lakes and everything else to make more of a miniature golf course of baseball?
Do we still need an all-star game? Wow. Has society evolved past the need for any sport?
July.
NBA,
Put it on the
WNBA, MLB, obviously the Pro Bowl goes without saying. Like, do we still need them? There's so many good things on TV. I watched Better Call Saul on Monday instead of the home run derby, and I do not regret it for a second.
Let's talk about this for a second, because I bought the last season of Better Call Saul, and I was hoping to get through it all in a binge, but they've given it out in pieces. Ozark did this the same way, where they do half the season and then they go away. I read some stuff this weekend that Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul were sworn to all sorts of secrecy about their cameos from Breaking Bad. They were hidden and abducted and were told not to tell anybody, and then everyone found out and knew anyway because it wasn't that much of a secret.
How about Better Call Saul? Get over yourself.
Oh, Jesus
please.
Christ. Come
It's
on.
enough. We
What?
really think that we're going to be surprised that Bryan Cranston and
Yes.
Aaron Paul, cast members from Breaking Bad, the show
Okay,
that is
Whittingham.
this is a prequel to that show. We're going to be surprised that two cast members, the two most famous cast members of that show, show up randomly. Come on.
I
Get
don't think
over
they were
yourself.
gonna. I would venture to guess that they didn't decide they were gonna do that until probably they were writing the season, the final season, because up until this point in the show, the timeline, the shows have been completely different shows. They're two wildly different shows. Better Call Saul is slower. It's more procedural. Like, it's just a completely different show. Breaking Bad was like a crazy drama-fueled, character-driven. I don't even know. Like, it was
Like
just
cocaine binge.
it was a thriller at times of a show. Better Call Saul has not been that until probably the last few episodes, like the second half of the last season. And I don't think that they were going to automatically include them in it until they realized that there was going to be a convergence of these timelines.
I was really surprised at the timing of the release of, Cranston and Aaron Paul is going to be on the show. Like, they said it relatively early.
I'm surprised they did that too. I wonder if that was an accident though.
When I read about it, they were trying to keep it a secret, and then it wasn't like some news outlet went and got it. They used it strategically. Somebody released it flippantly that didn't know they were supposed to keep it a secret. I think Lalo might be the best Latin character I've ever seen on television.
I said,
We should probably
after
give
the
a spoiler alert
Yeah.
right now.
Well,
Just blanket spoiler alert from now on. Skip ahead in case we accidentally say
just in
anything.
case, just in
Our
case.
director doesn't want spoilers.
Wait, no. But I've not spoiled anything
No,
by
we haven't
saying
spoiled
I have
anything
never
yet.
seen a Latin character, and this is a bad guy, but he is funny, and it's I've never seen a Latin character on television this good.
I said after the mid-season premiere that along with Ray Seahorn, who plays Kim Wexler, who finally got her Emmy nomination, Tony Dalton really needed a Emmy nomination, and hopefully he gets one for next year for this mid-season. He needs an Emmy nomination because he was so charismatic at playing that psychopath. He was so good playing that character.
The show is exceptional. I told you guys it's one of I've been wrong plenty around here, but I didn't think they should do any spinoff to Breaking Bad, that it would not be possible to make something that would ever be held in the same esteem. But I don't know if the shows are as different as you think they are, though, Jessica, because this has plenty of drama for me. It's not like I'm not stressed out watching what's happening here. There are a handful of shows that give me stress while watching. The Bear on Hulu now does that, the first couple of
that show.
episodes.
I gotta watch that.
Of
So
that.
true, Chef.
But The Shield, the original, one of the best television shows ever. I told you guys before that at the end of it, I felt like I was on my couch. I thought people were closing in on me.
But Dan, I think Better Call Saul changed over time. Like, it started out one way and now it's ending a very different way because it's gotten a lot darker. Like, if you go back and watch the first couple seasons of Better Call Saul, there's really not like that much violence. I mean, there is some stuff, but like, it's not anything at the level of the first season of Breaking Bad, which just came out like with a bang and was immediately like, there's explosions, there's meth, there's
Cranston in his
people
underwear.
getting melted in acid in like the third episode. Like, it starts out really, really dark. Better Call Saul like worked its way up to that.
And the entire show run now, we've been worried about the fate of Kim Wexler. And what happened in the previous episode was heartbreaking.
Hold
but not
on
in
a
a way
second.
that you think.
Hold on a second.
That was a
because
tease.
yes,
Teaser.
it is a tease, but I think we need to eject on this because, as I've told you with the watching of this, I now have 3 episodes. I'm 3 episodes behind. This is the this is how they close it out, right? This is one of, when you talk about television shows that are enduring, as this space gets more and more crowded, the ones that you remember forever have to get the ending right because you have an attachment. There aren't that many of them.
Did you like the ending in Breaking Bad?
I thought Breaking Bad had only one bad episode. That was the tribute to it. The ending was fine enough. I thought the Fly episode, a lot of people love the Fly episode, but I thought it was amazing that for that many seasons, you would get a show that would only have one episode that I was like, okay, let's go. Let's move it along.
Does the Fly episode have another meaning now that you know a little bit more about the old meth lab, Roy?
No, they ran out of money. That's what happened.
Well, I mean, maybe there was a reason a fly was buzzing around down there.
It's an artistic.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. But there should be more flies if that was the case.
Both shows are beautiful. I don't know, obviously, I don't know how this one ends, but they've got to get the ending right. I would also say that you can make the argument that Salamanca in the wheelchair with the bell, that he's one of the best Latin characters ever. And
what are your other nominees for best Latin characters of all time?
He's also, well, they've always been John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
Benny Blanco from the Bronx. It's the choices are very limited.
That is true.
Well, I'm on
Most
Rankers.
of them are not even Latin.
Yeah. I'm on Rankers' list of best Latino characters of all time. Number 1 is Miguel Rivera from the animated movie Coco. Then it's Gloria from Modern Family.
A total stereotype.
Wow, stereotypes.
Just but a wonderful one, but a monster stereotype.
Detective Rosa Diaz from Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a good shout. That's what we could. We have Mike Schur coming on later in the week. I feel like that's one
later in the show. That's today.
Yeah. You have Amy Santiago also from Brooklyn Nine-Nine in the top 10. Yeah, I mean, Benny the Jet Rodriguez from the Sandlot.
Look at number 13. Look at number 13. Number 13, Gustavo Fring.
Yep.
That wasn't the two I chose from.
Well, Mark Margolis is not actually of Hispanic or Latin
That's what
descent,
happens. He's not Latin.
apparently.
Tony Dalton also recognizing how Hollywood works. His real name is Alvaro Luis Bernat Dalton, but he goes by Tony Dalton.
Yeah.
God, he's the best. His mustache, I think, single-handedly brought back mustaches this year. There is a direct correlation between increased mustache wearing and Tony Dalton's mustache. You cannot convince me otherwise.
You convinced Randy Scott
If
of that
he was
mustache.
wearing 5-inch inseams too, I would be absolutely sure of this. But so far, I haven't seen him wear 5-inch inseams. He is ahead of the trend on the mustache, though.
Mm-hmm.
Can we call Stugotz again? And can we get the Harry Caray drunken slur through a broadcast?
Well, I have.
Better call Stu.
I do have Harry Caray sound. If you want to play it.
How do you feel about it?
It's him talking about Cracker Jacks.
The more Harry Caray you can give the program, the better we'll all be.
I don't know what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you're going to get a prize and find no prize in the box? Here's the pitch. That might not sound important to some people, but when you're a little kid, especially from humble origin, and they cheat you out of a prize.
He didn't say what happened to the pitch.
There's a bouncing ball. Second baseman has the Barbary over the first. It's hard to think in laudatory terms of the product.
I think if there was an occasional box of Cracker Jacks that found no prizes for the little Harry Caray many years ago.
You got that right.
Imagine that being like your only way of knowing what's going on in the game.
You got that right.
I need to call my dad and ask him about the 80s again.
Chris Cote, please keep getting into character.
You got that right.
He just
Go ahead,
drooled
Roy.
all over himself.
Go ahead, Roy. Your turn to talk.
All right. Jeremy back here came up with an excellent idea of a parody.
What was it?
It was called Better Call Stu. Stu playing the Saul character as a criminal lawyer in this situation. And I said that Billy would make a good Mike as the fixer.
What?
Oh
Mike's
my God.
hugely
He's the
confident.
anti-Mike.
What are you
Who would I
talking
be,
about?
Roy?
You're Badger.
You're definitely Badger.
I love
I don't know what I'm
Roy, Billy, Mike is a calm, cool, sage, wise assassin that can solve any situation calmly.
Well, who else here is going to play that character?
Billy calmly handle any situation with an assassin surgeon strike? Billy.
Roy, I think you're more Mike than Billy is.
Fearless?
That's a good point. I recommend myself for the role
of course,
Mike
just
Logan
like
Trump.
Family Feud. You recommend
Wait,
yourself.
who am I? Oh, there's only one woman. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you have to. You have to play Jimmy's assistant.